If you are really struggling, I hope that this video at least can show you that someone who has been there in the depths of grief, in the depths of grief, why can't I talk? First of all, I imagine that if you're watching this video, then you probably are dealing with grief, or you're dealing with someone who is dealing with grief. So I just want to say that my heart goes out to you, and I hope that you'll be able to find some value in this video, and I wish you all the best. Also, this video is not intended to take the place of speaking with your doctor or your therapist or whoever in your life that you need to speak to. I am not a doctor or a nurse. I'm just a girl who's been there. I feel like an expert because I personally do not remember any holidays or birthdays that I've ever had without some form of grief, or immense grief at that. Without going into much detail, my mother died when I was 3. A great deal of my family actually passed away when I was a child. I've also experienced very close deaths as a young adult, and it's never easy. So these are just ideas for you to mull over, maybe discuss it with your significant other or your family, and see if any of these sounds like something that you would like to implement for your family. And remember, if you are feeling grief and it is causing you to go places in your mind that are not healthy, then please do seek help. There's no shame in that. I have asked for help several times. I am so proud of you for making it this far. It's hard work. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Design and Dysfunction. Today I am going to be helping you deal with a dysfunctional situation, death. All of us are going to deal, unfortunately, with this thing called death, and then we're going to have to learn how to pick up and move on through the holidays. How do we do that? Today I am giving you 5 different ways to honor your loved one during this holiday season. Now, when I say don't make it weird, I'm not saying that any of the grieving types are wrong or that there's no place for it. However, only honoring one way to grieve at a gathering or making one way very prominent can make things quite uncomfortable and weird for other people at the same gathering, even if they're grieving the same person. So here's some tips about how to vary the experience and make room for everyone and their grieving styles. Now, I know one of the most popular ways and one of the first things I hear people say when they are missing a loved one is to set an empty place at the table for them. And although I do understand the reasoning behind this, I don't think it's always the best decision, because it can mean different things to different people. One person in your family might actually find that very comforting, but another person could look at that same empty chair and just be reminded of the emptiness that they feel and the loss that they're experiencing. So it might exacerbate the negative feelings that they already feel. There are a couple articles about where this empty chair thing came from. I'm not really going to get into the history of it, but I will leave a link in the description box below for you to check out for yourself. One of the most prominent stories comes from Poland, so if you're Polish, you might want to go check it out. For now, let's get on to idea number 1. Choose an article of clothing or an accessory that belongs to your loved one and wear it in the funniest way possible. Do they have a special brooch that you remember them wearing? This actually was my grandmother's. I don't think it's worth much monetarily. I think it was bought at Dillard's or JCPenney's or something like that. But I love this thing, so I don't know, wear it on a dress, wear it on a hat, do whatever you want to with it, but literally just use it. Did your grandfather dress up every year as Santa Claus? You know, wear that. Was your grandmother the Queen of England? Wear a crown. What, is that too far? Too soon? Not disrespecting. She was an awesome lady, I'm sure. The point is, just do something that will make you and your family members smile. Idea number 2, decorate the chair that they usually sat at the dining table. And I mean go all out. Make it look like a birthday party chair, a throne, do whatever you want to do. And then draw names to see who gets to sit in it. Idea number 3, if this is a relatively new loss and you're able to do it, give gifts of their possessions, like just small items, trinkets, or whatever, that belong to that loved one to different people in the family that would appreciate them. Also, what you could do is just set up a little side table and allow each family member to take one item. You could also number all of the items on the bottom, place it on the table, and have people draw numbers to see which item they got. That way you don't have to worry about anyone arguing or fighting over a specific item. Remember, we want to keep this as respectful as possible. So hey guys, if you have found value in this video so far, then please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment, and be free to share any ideas that you might have to share with the rest of the community about how you deal with grief during the holidays. And now, back to the video. Idea number 4, set up a safe place away from the center of the party where people can just take time to quietly reflect or write what they're feeling at the moment about that person or about that loved one or about that loss. Some different things you could do is perhaps set up a chair with perhaps a blanket that they owned, or if it was a grandmother or an aunt, something that they made with pictures of them. Perhaps just set a picture book on a table beside the chair. Make sure the chair is comfortable as well. And maybe put a pad of paper with removable pages that they can just sit down and write what they're thankful for about that person. Or who knows, they may actually have some sort of unresolved beef with that person. They can sit in that chair respectfully and just write this letter of forgiveness or whatever it is that they need to get off of their heart. Take the paper, so rip it out, let it be a sticky note, or what do you call those pads where you just, like a grocery list pad? You know what I'm talking about. Just anything that they can take with them. It's just between them and their own heart. Tip number 5, everyone grieves differently, so do not shun grief. Some people appreciate humor. Some people find it disrespectful. Some people just want silence and a hug. Some people need reverence. Some people need a shoulder to cry on. There is no right or wrong way to grieve. There's also not a timeline. In this video, I have tried to give ways that would honor most of the personality types. It is possible to make room for all of the forms of grief at the same get-together. It just takes a little forethought. And I think you'll be surprised at how appreciative your family will be. And here's a bonus tip. I don't like to commercialize grief or when people are going through hard times. However, they do make specific Christmas ornaments for people that are grieving. Sometimes they have some that actually do have the empty chair on it, or you could get one made with their picture and perhaps a favorite verse or a favorite quote that they had. Just anything that will help you remember them in a more positive light. And for another bonus, I will share with you what I've actually done in my own house. My grandmother was actually my best friend, and she passed away in 2017. The last time I saw her, I was with my husband, and I sat there in the nursing home with her for probably 3 hours, crying the entire time. She wasn't really responsive. She really didn't say anything coherent while we were there. Oh, and my grandmother had dementia, so she really wasn't speaking or anything at that point. And it ended up being 2 weeks before she passed away. As we were leaving, the strangest thing happened. She sat up in the bed and looked at us and said, "Wait a minute, I gotta tell you something." And we were both like, "What?" Like, yes, ma'am. So we sat back down, and she looked at me and said, "Be patient, be sweet, be kind, and always keep each other laughing." And then that was it. That's the last thing I heard her say. But it was crazy because I was thinking, there's no way I could have actually heard that. Like, and I looked at my husband and he heard the same thing, so I was just like, okay, that's insane. And it was beautiful. But we ended up having to leave. I live in a different state. And we got home 2 weeks later, and the strangest thing happened. The day she passed away, I had actually planned to take my husband to see his favorite Christian comedian at the time, which was Tim Hawkins. Is that your favorite? Okay. I was going to take him to see Tim Hawkins, and I got the phone call like probably 3 hours before we were supposed to go to this concert with friends. Anyways, I got the call that she had passed away, and I was driving at the time. As soon as my cousin, this is hard for me to talk about. I didn't really anticipate sharing this today, but as soon as my cousin hung up the phone, like through tear-streaked eyes, I look up in the sky and I see what looks like the shape of a heart in the clouds. Like, I'll leave a picture. This is the picture that I took that day. And of course, you know, even though it was expected, the grief hit me like freight train. And I thought, I don't know if I could ever, you know, feel really happy again. Like, I had already lost my mom and my aunts and uncles, and just, there had already been a lot of grief. So I couldn't imagine going through life now without having her presence and without having her wisdom. I don't know if I can do this. Okay, this is harder than I thought it would be. Anyways, I was just thinking to myself, there's no way. Like, how can I possibly go to a comedy show and laugh on the day that my best friend died? Like, I felt like being in the fetal position, but all I could do was remember her words of always keep each other laughing. And it was like playing over and over and over in my head. So that evening, basically, I was just terrified of going anywhere because I wasn't sure of my emotions. I wasn't sure that I would be able to hold anything together. But it turns out that me going was actually the greatest gift that I could have given myself. It let me see that I was able to, even for 2 hours, really just sit back and enjoy something in the midst of some of the deepest pain of my life at the time.
Yeah, who would have thought that on a day like that, that would have been relayed back to the last words you said to you, as far as keep each other laughing and
yeah,
to have that scheduled already previously, that we're going to go to a comedy. Who would have thought that, you know, it had to be a God thing.
Yeah, just to know that he cares, but also just to know that we have the capacity to feel more than one thing at a time. And another thing that I really learned that day was it was not disrespectful to enjoy something. I think there's something inside of us that intrinsically tells us, you know, if I love this person so much, I should be grieving heavy all the time. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. That's not necessarily true. Our bodies, our minds even, our brains, we need some sort of reprieve. I think honestly, the last gift she gave me was so valuable in carrying me forward these past, 5 years that she's been gone now. And so yeah, I actually do. I still grieve her loss. I still shed tears over it. I still think, oh my goodness, it's not fair. But here we are. We do make it further. And I think you're stronger than you think you are as well. Even in spite of all of the griefs that my grandmother faced. She had lost 4 of her 6 children before she passed. 1 more has actually passed by now. And abandonment, racism, abuse, the death of a spouse, the death of her parents, and 13 or 14 siblings that she had. She saw the value of humor even in grief. So I've decided to share that with you all today, and that is my way of honoring her and her legacy. And now let's get on with the video. So the next way you can honor your loved one this holiday season is to serve something that they love. Perhaps it's a special recipe that they had, or it could just be their favorite food. And it doesn't even really have to go with the holiday season. It could be something as random as pizza rolls or tacos or Zaxby's chicken fingers. Who cares? Just serve it along with everything else. Or make it an hors d'oeuvre. You can put it on a special platter. You can put a picture of your loved one beside it if you wish. If they liked it, serve it up. Grief comes in many different forms, and there are different stages and levels of grief that you'll experience. So you might not actually feel ready to do any of these things. Even if you don't use anything like this year, if you're not ready, then of course you can just tuck that in the back of your mind and pull it out for whenever you do feel ready. Or you can pass it along to a friend who might be ready. Hey guys, I just want to thank you so much for watching this video. I know it's not exactly the easiest thing to watch, but it's something that all of us could use. So I hope you guys have a very blessed holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year's, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Happy everything. Well, thank you for your support, honey. So yeah. I'll let you get back to what you need to.
You're welcome, dear.
You can smile again, you can celebrate again, and you can have a Merry Christmas. See you in the next video. Ciao.